Today we're going to be going over the barbell eccentric front squat. Now when getting set up, there's two different ways that we can go about with our grip position on the bar. First, we can do just like the ending of a hang clean. So we can go elbows forward, hands out to the side, okay, and then we're here. Or we can go across the body, right, kind of make like a pretzel. And then this is a little bit less comfortable here, I think, at the front side of the chest, but it is a lot more comfortable with holding that bar in place. Now, it is also different for each person. Some people might like this a lot easier, think it's more comfortable for both pieces, but not everybody can keep their elbows up when going from this part. So, going underhand versus that overhand grip position. Biggest thing is that as we lift our shoulders, right, we kind of get this little shelving. Our muscles kind of make this little divot for that bar to sit in between where your neck is, your collarbone, and then into that delt muscle. So the whole point of that is that as we go down through the squat, we need to keep our elbows high, okay? So not shrugging the shoulders, but keeping those elbows actually high so that when we go down, we don't tip forward and let that bar fall off of our shoulders or off where we actually have that bar sitting on our shoulders. Other than that, the difference between a back squat and a front squat is we're gonna focus on one major thing, okay? We're gonna be keeping what we call the scissors closed, okay? So when we're going chest big and tall up towards the ceiling, we tend to show our rib cage, and we call that open scissors, okay? So we wanna keep that chest drawn down towards the belly button. So I always think about like, right, almost as if you're giving yourself a double chin, but it's actually just with your chest, okay? So keep that chest drawn down, keep your shoulders back though, right? We don't want to slouch your shoulders ever when we're doing lifts. So shoulders down and back, keep that chest drawn down and in, engage that core and squeeze those glutes, okay? When we're going through our front squat as well, it is a little bit more important that when we're going through the actual squat motion, that we're gonna push our hips back just a slight bit more than normal and that we do in a back squat. The reason for this is, since that weight is out in front, we want to counteract where that weight is being displaced. So when we're going through that squat here, right, if we have that weight out in front of the shoulders, okay, if that weight is at our back, right, we don't necessarily need to keep those hips back because the weight's there. So we actually are okay getting a little bit more straight up and straight down with that squat motion, but when the weight is out in front, okay, that weight's gonna wanna pull us forward. So one way to keep tall is by pushing your hips back a little bit more, so that way when we get down into that nice 90-degree or parallel to the ground, right, we can keep those shoulders upright and we're not engaging or we're not losing the engagement of our abdomen and of our core going through that actual front squat motion. So when we do go through our front squat motion though, it is very important as well to continue to push through the feet, right, in the right way. So we don't want to be on the heels, we don't want to be on the toes, especially not on the toes with the weight already being in the front. So, as always, think about pushing and keeping that weight stable and controlled through the middle of the foot. So think where the arch is, where the ankle is, not at the heels, not at the toes. Okay, so when we're going through that front squat, as always, get underneath the bar completely, get whatever grip position that you want first, lift up, take your steps out, figure out your feet. I got a mirror in front of me so I can see about where my stance should be about. Take a small look. Okay, and then from here, again, thinking about driving those elbows up towards the ceiling as we are going further through that squat, okay? Because as we go down, our elbows are gonna wanna drop with us, okay? So keep those elbows high as we actually go through that squat, okay? And then standing strong back up, pushing through the feet. So, now, for today as well, when we are doing our eccentric squat, just like every other eccentric, it is gonna be slow on the way down. So slow on the opposite of the hardest part that we're doing. So when our muscles are contracting, that's where we're gonna be going, or muscles are lengthening, that's when we're gonna be going slower. So for the eccentric squat, it's gonna be on the way down, right? When we're actually getting into that squat position. So what that looks like here is, we're gonna go through a certain amount of time. You know, your program might show, 3 seconds to 5 seconds or more. Whatever that program says, that's how long it's gonna take for you to get from standing down through that squat position, right? So let's go 3 seconds today. If we're going 3 seconds eccentric through a front squat, right? Keeping those elbows tall. We're going 1 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000, should be at the end of the range of motion, driving up strong, okay? And that is your barbell eccentric squat.